Thanks for tuning in. You are now tuned into Difficult People Chronicles. Seriously focused Johnny, SF Johnny. Today is a Q&A. It's called Fruitless Friends. I received some emails from some of you all listeners about situations you're going through, and I don't want you to feel some kind of way because of how I responded. Basically, I tried to make my response short and sweet and try to get to everybody. I wanted you all to go back to past episodes because some of the questions that you're asking is in some of those episodes. If you feel that maybe your question wasn't clear enough or I didn't answer the question, you're free to email me again. So, I just wanted to inform y'all on that. Today's episode is called Fruitless Friends. SFJ, I'm spiritual. Every time I hang out with certain friends, something always happens to me. I'm changing and they're still the same. But they are my friends. We never had any bad situations between us. Normal friends. Part of me feels great and the other part of me feels bad that I'm changing. Plus, I sense I shouldn't be around them. Why is that? Okay, so when you are spiritual, you could go right or left. Right would be towards God, and left would be following your ego. And when you follow your ego, it's never a good look. Even if you are in between and you undecided because you like the world, but you pray to God, it's not going to be a good situation because what happens is when you spiritual and God is calling you to do some things, you're going to go through a lot. I mean, a lot. Like your change will be a lot. And the question is, are you going to do what God wants you to do or are you going to be rebellious? Basically. That's the easiest way I could put it, based off of my experience. Spirituality, you will no longer go to certain places, want to be around certain people like friends or family, eat certain things. Because God might say to you, your body is the vessel and you're going to have to clean it out. And there's certain things you can't eat where you start to eat things that you normally eat and then your body start acting up or you end up in the hospital, God forbid, because you're not listening to what God is telling you. The crazy part is that you will go through a change you can't even explain. Like when you're ready to go through something or get at somebody and then all of a sudden God will reroute your whole attitude. Like the time when I remember somebody recently said something to me in an email and I went off. Then I printed my email before I sent it just to, make sure I was clear in my delivery. And then all of a sudden, what happened? The same email that I had dropped in my plate of food. And I was just like, maybe it wasn't meant to be. So I ended up changing my whole email and I sent it out and then realized that it was just a misunderstanding on the other person's part, because then after they emailed me back and apologized for what they said. And God will do that. God will even put you in situations you don't want to be in. And I mean relationships. You are set on a particular person that you want to marry, and God says that person is not the one for you. And you end up marrying someone who is your total opposite. God will do that because it's not about what you want, it's about what He has for you and what He wants you to do. He might uproot you from a specific job. Like say you've been working on this job for a certain time period and it's, like the fire's been turned up on the job to a sense there's a whole lot you can't tolerate. Everything agitates you down to the color of the paper clips. And it's just the atmosphere is toxic. And it all boils down to the hearts of certain people where the place just needs to be cleaned out, period. And only person to do that is God. There might be certain, I would say, TV shows you watch or movies that you are into, and God might shut that down and say, nope, none of that. Whatever He has planned for you. Now, to answer your question. You said, I sense I shouldn't be around them. Why is that? Because your spirit is telling you that you need to change. And there's a part of you that wants to be around the same people, and maybe God is moving you to a different platform. And when that happens, you start to no longer look at situations the same. Like your friends may be so in tune with the same everyday, same old. And you see that as a past, but they comfortable in that past. And you need to move on. And change never feels, I would say, change is going to hurt sometimes where you get emotional. And it's not, I don't think, for some people it's fear, and then some people it's just that you want to bring some of those people with you. And they may not have any ill intentions towards you. They may have like never done anything to you. Like you said, y'all never had bad situations between y'all. But the thing is that they might not be trying to change or elevate. And that's the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing. They may be comfortable where they're at. And being comfortable means that, when I say comfortable with them, means that their thought pattern, like I said, is the same. How they see situations is the same. They don't think out the box. They not productive. They get things that other people don't care about. Like when you become spiritual, there's certain things you just not gonna care about like the way you used to before. And sometimes these friends being comfortable in just the same situation not changing can ruin your future, especially if you stick around them, because when God wants to work in you, He wants you to move. Yep. When He wants to work in you, He's going to want you to move. So He might want you to move to a different location. He might want you to move in your job. He might want you to move from a specific set of friends. He might want you to move as far as your thought pattern, where you no longer think the way you used to think. And these friends might not, I would say, they don't want to utilize what God gave them to take them to the next level. And then you going to the next level, you have no use for them. No use. Because they stuck in being the same old bunch of people. So I don't know if it's fear. I don't know if it's just being comfortable. And when I say comfortable, some people say comfortability is fear. No, comfortability could be laziness. But the one word that kept coming out at me when I was reading this question was laziness. Laziness. Not wanting to put in the work of whatever that you know you should be doing. Because if you spiritual, God talks to you however kind of way, and He probably told you what you should be doing. And what came to me was laziness. So it's no longer comfortable or fear. I mean, it's no longer fear. It's you being comfortable and not wanting to move or push forward because you feel like it's going to be a lot of work. Nothing in life is easy. And understand this, you know, and this might not happen with your friends, but I'm just letting you know now. Change sometimes is hard. Detaching sometimes is hard. Meaning that your friends might not be receptive to your change. Like they might not say, oh, go ahead, girl, do your thing. They might sit back and start getting jealous because they're comfortable and there might be fear in them. And change is probably something that they never thought about. And they might not be as spiritual as you. So what happens is when you start moving along, they'll start getting jealous. Sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. There's sometimes situations where you start moving along and then your friends, they might have had that feeling all along to change, but then they felt the way you felt, which was comfortable. Some might have fear in them, but then once you start moving along, they might start to move along and do some things. And then as you progress and elevate, y'all start to have more and more things in common. Because what's happening now is that you're changing and they aren't. And it's almost like you're at the cusp where the things y'all have in common is not a lot like it used to be. And some of these friends, they don't show signs that they're trying to change or elevate. So you need to go to God in prayer and ask Him if it's time to leave that circle. Because sometimes God is giving you a warning sign. Just ask Him, He'll tell you. And this is my picture. When you are fruitful or you're bearing fruit, what happens is I see it as you being a tree and you starting to develop fruit. Beside you and around you, well, all around you, you have other trees, but they're bearing no fruit. They're just there. What do you think is going to happen? Eventually, those trees around you is just going to die. Meaning that those friends around you are not going to elevate. They just going to do the same things they've been doing. And then this life and situations is going to start getting worse. When you start bearing fruit, you start to grow, you start to blossom, you start to branch off into other things. And you grow so tall that you no longer see those other trees around you. You just hover over them because you're so big and grand, I would say. So that's it for today. If you want to sign up for a one-on-one session, go to my website. Check me out on Facebook, YouTube, like, subscribe. Check out my store. For suggested topics, email me. All the links is underneath. Have a blessed week. Love me more and I love you more. Later.